I've been offline for 5 minutes. Did Donald Trump fire anyone else? It's a real question. Here's something interesting. In the course of one afternoon, President Donald Trump essentially took control of the Russia investigation. Surprise! So how did we get here? Well, Trump decided to follow up losing one chamber of Congress to the Democrats in the midterm elections by giving his oft-maligned Attorney General Jeff Sessions the boot. That hurt. But honestly, was anyone really surprised? This is the sort of I do what feels right when it feels right move that has become Trump's hallmark over his past 3 years in political life. Trump has fired lots of senior staff and cabinet members since taking office, but this one does matter for one major reason. In firing Sessions, Trump appears to have wrestled back operational control of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's probe into Russian interference in the 2016 election and the possibility of collusion between Trump's campaign and a foreign power. So the public announcement of the firing, delivered by tweet, which is Trump's platform of choice for doing virtually everything, went like this, quote, "We are pleased to announce that Matthew G. Whitaker, Chief of Staff to Attorney General Jeff Sessions at the Department of Justice, will become our new Acting Attorney General of the United States. He will serve our country well. We thank Attorney General Jeff Sessions for his service and wish him well. A permanent replacement will be nominated at a later date." Sidebar. This has been coming for a very long time. Trump hated the fact that Sessions had recused himself from the investigations related to the Trump campaign and took every opportunity to bash him on Twitter and in public for the 2 years that followed, calling him all sorts of things like beleaguered and very weak. Trump often reminded his attorney general publicly that he would rather have someone else, really anyone else, in the job.
He took the job and then he said, "I'm going to recuse myself." I said, "What kind of a man is this?" And by the way, he was on the campaign. You know, the only reason I gave him the job because I felt loyalty. He was an original supporter.
So firing Sessions has now strategically situated someone who agrees with Trump at the top of the Justice Department, at least for the moment. In addition to being Sessions' former chief of staff, now acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker has been a very high-profile critic of the Mueller investigation dating back to 2017, including offering critiques on television and in op-eds. Here's one.
I could see a scenario where Jeff Sessions is replaced with a recess appointment, and that Attorney General doesn't fire Bob Mueller, but he just reduces his budget so low that his investigation grinds to almost a halt.
So Whitaker back then gives us something of a roadmap into what he could potentially decide to do regarding the Mueller investigation. As the old saying goes, feed a cold, starve a special counsel investigation that you don't like. Oh, that old chestnut. Democrats almost immediately started calling on Whitaker to recuse himself from overseeing the investigation. Here's some breaking news. Run the Chiron.
Breaking news.
That ain't happening. As you recall, recusing himself from the Russia investigation was Trump's #1 quibble with Sessions. Trump could never forgive the former Alabama senator for the recusal that placed Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein in charge of the investigation and, at least in Trump's mind, led to the appointment of Bob Mueller as special counsel. After firing Sessions, Trump could have put Rosenstein in charge, but he chose Whitaker instead. The fact that he skipped over Rosenstein, a supporter of Sessions, Bob Mueller, and the special counsel probe, says a lot. Now, sidebar. Whitaker can only serve as acting attorney general for roughly 200 days. But when you wield as much power as the attorney general does, 200 days could be plenty of time to make substantive changes to the special counsel investigation. As acting AG, Whitaker will have say over key decisions going forward, like whether to subpoena the president, and even whether to approve criminal charges. Double sidebar, even more sidebar. This shift is coming at a critical time. Multiple sources told CNN that Mueller's team has started writing its final report on his findings. But if that report comes out anytime soon, guess who's in charge of what parts get made public? You got it on the first try. Whitaker. According to CNN's reporting, Trump's chief of staff, General John Kelly, fired Sessions on Wednesday morning, which means that Sessions, unbeknownst to the rest of us, was already out when Trump said this about the Mueller investigation in a news conference that afternoon.
I could fire everybody right now, but I don't want to stop it because
about
politically I don't like stopping it.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace. It should have never been started because there was no crime.
So here's where we are. A president who has called the probe a money-wasting witch hunt fired the attorney general who recused himself from the Russia investigation. He passed on appointing the heir apparent to the job, Rod Rosenstein, and he chose as the country's top cop a man who agrees with him that the investigation is overstepping its bounds and who won't recuse himself from overseeing it. Which is, let's be honest, the situation Trump wanted all along. And that is the point. This is the last episode of our YouTube Takeover. We'll be back to our regular schedule next week, so make sure you check back for new episodes here every Tuesday and Thursday.